Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my rankings for the new Mega Evolutions introduced in Pokémon Legends ZA. If you haven't checked out part 1 yet, be sure to do that, and if you did watch part 1, I really appreciate it. It looks like you guys enjoyed that one, and I didn't even get one mean comment. I was hoping to get at least one. I mean, come on.
This guy stinks!
But no, I appreciate it, and hopefully you know that this is all in good fun. That's the beauty of Pokemon, really. One Pokemon or one game or one other thing that someone doesn't like at all can actually be someone else's favorite. It's kind of like music taste. For example, I consider all music garbage unless it's progressive, technical, black and death metal. Maybe a better way to put it is different strokes for different folks. Okay, let's just get started with the second half of ZA's new Megas. Okay, so with Mega Chandelure, we have yet another Gen 5 Pokemon that got a new Mega. I think I'm starting to see a pattern here. Like I said in part 1, Black and White and Black 2 and White 2 are actually the games that I've played the least. I'm long overdue for a new playthrough of those games actually. So I haven't given a ton of thought to a lot of Gen 5's Pokemon. While Gen 5 tends to be the biggest target for all the griping that tends to amount to Pokemon based on objects bad, I happen to love Chandelure and consider it one of my favorites of Gen 5, which by the way is far from the first generation to have designs based on inanimate objects. Okay, I'll stop. Take it up with Kintsugamori. But anyway, is Mega Chandelure an example of a more of the same Mega? Yes. Is it awesome anyway? Yes. I love the more intricate wrought iron style trimmings and the more flames, especially the longer one on its head. Chandelure ultimately is a spooky, classy chandelier, and its Mega takes both aspects to the next level. Love it. S tier. Alright, Golurk, another Gen 5 Pokemon, and another one that I've grown to like the more that I've seen it. I have to say, regular Golurk's design, being based on a disheveled automaton that looks like it just got unearthed from an archaeological dig site, is just super cool. I love its ghost ground typing as well, but again, these rankings are based solely on designs. But Golurk's original design is important when considering its Mega, because when looking at the two side by side, the concept becomes clear. Mega Golurk is Golurk returning to its original state. That is when it was first created. All its energy is back, and the big crack across the body is gone. It's basically a restored version of an ancient artifact made by a long-gone civilization. That's just straight up awesome. Not to mention it looks amazing with the energy becoming fancy armor trim of sorts to accentuate a design that was already great to begin with. I overlooked this one when playing through ZA, but on closer inspection, it's an awesome one. Probably one of my favorites. Definitely S tier. Okay, so I'll just be honest, I'm not a fan of the Chespin line. I'm not gonna try to explain or justify it. I just don't like it, and Chesnaught is probably my least favorite fully evolved starter. But with that said, I do have to also say that I don't like Chesnaught's Mega either. First of all, I think it's a prime example of the two similar to the original starter syndrome. And second of all, it looks like a tree squirrel that fell in some kind of radioactive goo and came out ready to destroy an entire city, but is too uncoordinated and unwieldy to even walk. Yeah, it's got the Viking shields on the back with the fur cape coming out of the back, but that just makes it look even more like a mutant squirrel. Sorry, but not a fan. C tier. Okay, Delphox, another Kalos starter that admittedly I'm not that big of a fan of. But I do appreciate its concept being based on a witch or a mage or wizard of some sort. Honestly, it's just always given me that kind of uncanny, too human-like furry animal vibe. But I also don't hate it. I did use it in my first ever playthrough of Y, but then again, I usually always choose the fire starter. Anyway, I look at Delphox's Mega as a good upgrade. The flaming wand stick it had has now become a giant flaming broomstick, with two new flaming sticks floating on either side. Aside from that, Delphox itself looks about the same really, but it does have the longer fur beard going on with more ear fur flowing in the wind behind it. This one just has a neat concept that builds off its original design, and the flaming broomstick and the fact that it flies is really cool. You know what, I'll say A tier. Whoo buddy, if you thought the first video had some hot takes, I'm gonna get lit up for this one. I don't like Mega Greninja all that much. There, I said it. But hear me out. I completely recognize that Greninja is probably the most popular fully evolved starter since Big Daddy Charizard himself. I like Greninja, really I do. It's a ninja frog and that's cool. However, to me, Mega Greninja is pretty much just regular Greninja, upside down. Yeah, it's got the black coloring alluding to a ninja suit, and I guess it's shiny too, which is pretty cool, and the spikier crest on the head and the little ninja stars on its legs, but otherwise, it's just upside down, suspended by the water helicopter. I mean, water shuriken. Do I deny it's cool? Not at all. Does it make sense? Absolutely. But it's just not a personal favorite of mine. I'll go B tier. Okay, maybe I'm just in a mood, but I don't like Pyroar all that much to begin with, and this Mega straight up sucks. Let's go through a full analysis here. Its mane got bigger. There you go. Oh, and to top it off, there's no gender difference for male and female, and that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you heard me right. Male and female Pyroar have the same exact Mega evolution. Oh, and I legitimately hate that pack of Pyroar in Wild Zone 17. And I mean hate. I usually try to show equal respect for all of Arceus' creatures, but Pyroar might just be Almighty Sinnoh's only mistake. Maybe unfair for the purposes of this ranking, but you know what? This is my video, and I wish that Pyroar family nothing but the worst. D tier. Mega Floette is unique because it's the only non-fully evolved Pokemon to have a Mega evolution, and really that's just because it's central to the story of Legend ZA. So if you haven't played it yet, you may not fully understand, and that's okay. Going on just design alone, it's pretty straightforward. Instead of the regular flower you see with Floette normally, it's got the Eternal Flower all charged up and ready to shoot a giant laser beam attack. I do think it's cool to see the juxtaposition of such a cute and tiny Pokemon with this giant scary looking weapon. But there's really not much more to say about it really. I'll go B tier. Mega Meowstic is another one that requires a little bit of background and context to fully understand and appreciate. Meowstic is a Pokemon with really stark gender differences, kind of like Jellicent or Oinkologne, and there's plenty of other examples. With male Meowstic being almost entirely blue with white highlights, and female Meowstic being almost entirely white with blue highlights. In addition to some differences with their eyes, ears, and fur shape. But with Mega Meowstic, the two designs come together in this really cool half and half kind of yin and yang kind of thing. I actually think this is really clever, especially considering they accounted for details like the eyes. Male Meowstic's eyes are blue and the females are yellow. And in the Mega, you have one of each. And this time they're closed as if it's really focusing to tap into its full psychic power. I really like this one. I'm gonna say A tier. Alright, here's the most well-known new Mega evolution of them all, with the only other one that might even come close being Mega Dragonite in terms of recognition. This is of course due to the major hype campaign centered on Malamar that was leading up to ZA's release last year, with some really, well, weird ad campaign videos showing up all over social media. If you haven't seen them, they were focused on Mega Malamar's ability to control minds and erase memories, with it being a very super villainy inspired design. It's even got the V-shaped shoulder collar things going on with the huge swollen brain. And the multicolored lights inside of it with the hypnotic tentacles are pretty cool. Mega Malamar might just be the most evil Pokemon ever, if it wasn't for Mewtwo of course. I do think this is a good one. I'll say A tier. This is an interesting one because honestly, I've always thought that Barbaracle might just be the ugliest daggum Pokemon of all time. And I mean like no one ever was. But funnily enough, Mega Barbaracle actually makes it look better by making it more monstrous. It's quite obviously based on multi-armed Hindu deities, or at least it seems that way to me. Whereas regular Barbaracle was just straight up, well, barbarically ugly.
He was so ugly that everyone died. The end.
Its Mega leans into the horror of the creepy crawly barnacles, and has 8 of them sprouting out of the rock body to serve as a sinister set of slashing limbs. Its stance with the arms spread wide and the one foot placed behind the other is a nice touch too, almost as if it's inviting you to dare to try messing with it. I actually really like this one, and it surprised me a ton when I first saw it. A tier. Alright, Mega Dragalge is pretty cool. Dragalge and its pre-evolution, Skrelp, were introduced in Gen 6, and they didn't stand out all that much to me, but they're kind of interesting, given that upon evolution, Skrelp actually loses its water typing to gain the dragon type, giving us the poison dragon type sea dragon that is Dragalge. Dragalge is all about imitation, just like real-world sea dragons, and has all these leafy protrusions, meant to look like kelp leaves to camouflage itself. By the way, Dragalge is actually mentioned on the Wikipedia page for sea dragons, which are actually really fascinating creatures. I mean, look at these things! Anyway, Mega Dragalge leans into the sea dragon concept, getting more intricate leaf-like protrusions, but also, my favorite part, a whole new false face with this part at the top that makes it look even more bizarre and intimidating than before. Plus it gains this leaf cape thing, which makes it look strange yet regal. Surprisingly, this is a Mega that I actually ended up really liking. I'll say A tier. Hawlucha is a cool Pokemon with a cool concept and design. It's a Hawk Luchador, hence Hawlucha. And I don't have a thing against it. But unfortunately, as far as ranking new Megas goes, its Mega Evolution just doesn't stand out all that much. Does it look like a Mega Evolution? Sure, I guess. It's not bad by any means, but it's too similar to its original design to stand out visually. I'll say B tier. Zygarde, the third legendary of the Aura Trio, the Z to Gen 6's X and Y, and the enforcer of balance to the ecosystem. Zygarde is just a super cool Pokemon with a really interesting concept and mechanic, especially for a legendary, with it changing forms depending on how many cells have been collected to make up its body. Good luck getting all of them in Go, by the way. In ZA, this is featured once more, and thankfully we get to see Zygarde receiving more attention than it got in X and Y, playing a key role in the game's story. Zygarde ultimately is the hero of this plot, stepping in to restore order to all the rogue Mega Evolution chaos. To do this, Zygarde pushes its power beyond its limits with a new Mega Evolution of its own, apparently reconfiguring the majority of its cells to form a massive gun cannon thing that's aimed right at the face of anyone who dares to meddle with the balance of nature. Expectations were high for this one, and rightfully so. In my opinion, it didn't disappoint, with a super cool and intimidating design that still had some surprise factor with the giant cannon rather than something more conventional. Plus, it's got a cape, emphasizing its role as a heroic figure, stepping in to bring balance to the forces of life and death. Yeah, Zygarde's basically Captain Planet, but minus all the
power is yours!
Lameness. S tier for sure. Crabominable is one ugly Pokemon. And I know that it's meant to be, and I won't hold that against it for the purposes of these rankings. But its Mega to me is really just more of the same. It's a little more souped up and gains the icy maces on its arms, but otherwise is pretty similar to its original design. But I do like it and think it's cool. C tier. For Mega Golisopod, I'm tempted to go A tier just because I really like its design concept. It's a creepy, nasty, scary insectoid that's got evil alien vibes and a darker coloring than the original. However, it ultimately only just gets 2 more legs and arms. I do really like it, but because I've used too much similarity to the original as a factor against some other Megas, I'll say B tier for this one. I'm just gonna say it, Mega Drampa is one sick Mega, and it instantly became one of my favorites the moment that I saw it. It's got both an amazing concept and design. Drampa is the lovable, easygoing, and elderly dragon introduced in Sun and Moon, and its whole thing is being a dragon that's lost the luster of its youth. Whatever ferocity it once had is long gone, and it's since retired to a life of giving quarters, bubblegum, and pocket lint to the young people.
I love the young people.
But Mega Drampa, hoo boy! It restores this grandfatherly dragon to all its youthful, draconic glory. Just like if your great-grandfather stepped into a time machine and traveled back to the prime of his life when he fought in WW2. In short, the worn out becomes dangerous again.
Come and get your Tootsie Rolls.
The spiky frill on the head, the ticked-off expression, and the black storm cloud thing on the body, Mega Drampa looks like it's rolling up on that group of neighborhood kids who have stepped on his lawn for the last time. Absolutely amazing Mega, and S tier for sure. I like Magearna, despite it being a somewhat overlooked mythical introduced in Gen 7. It's a good example of a Pokemon that's equal parts cute and cool, with it being a ladylike clockwork construct. Its Mega leans in more to its cool side, with it looking more alert and ready for battle than the original. Its dress gets a little hiked up, or its legs get a little longer, whichever, kind of like a damsel in distress in a Western movie who's decided to take matters into her own hands. And the orbiting gear parts, formerly attached to the face, are coming off to circle the body, and that's pretty sweet. However, it is really similar to the original. I do really like this one, but it's not really a standout. I'll say B tier. As much as I like Zeraora, mostly because I've always loved electric types and spiky cool designs, I have to admit that its Mega looks more like a regional form or something than a Mega evolution. To me, Zeraora was on the fringe of even looking like a Pokemon in the first place, bordering on looking like it belongs more in the Sonic franchise or something. This is not to say I don't like it. I think it's great, but it's just always looks slightly out of place. And its Mega didn't do much to bring any kind of distinction. It pains me to do so, but I have to say C tier. Alright, and on to one of my personal favorites. Falinks really got my attention to begin with in Sword and Shield with an absolutely amazing concept and design based on the ancient Greek warfare formation of the Phalanx. It's cute yet cool with a really clever name, and I've always liked how each of its members are all lined up, marching in formation and ready to go to war for its trainer. But Mega Phalanx takes this concept to the next level, with each individual forming one massive hoplite warrior, complete with a sword and shield, which is a great homage to the games it originates from. It's got the spike on the head, which is cool, and my favorite part, this little guy here with the pained expression who's doing most of the work to hold the whole thing together. It's such a nice touch that's both really funny while also making reference to the fact that Mega Evolution takes a lot of energy and can't be sustained forever. I love this Mega, and honestly, it might just be my favorite of not only ZA's new Megas, but of every Mega Evolution ever. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. That would be second to Mega Charizard X, of course. But seriously, it's just next level awesome, and I salute Game Freak for designing this incredible Pokemon. Definitely S tier. Scovillain is one of the more memorable Pokemon introduced in Scarlet and Violet, obviously being based on chili peppers. I've always liked it and think it's really clever with interesting typing. With that said, its Mega unfortunately suffers from too similar to the original syndrome. It's got the new red pepper hanging off of it here and gets some bells and whistles here and there, but ultimately it's just really about the same. I mean, it could have gotten more heads or something. I do really like it, it's a sick design, but the original and Mega are kind of like the difference between a stock sports car and one with a slightly better trim package. C tier. While it seems like it might be based on the passion flower, I still don't really fully understand what Glimmora exactly is. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's a strange Pokemon, being introduced in Scarlet and Violet, and apparently having something to do with terrestrialization, though I'm not sure exactly what. Its unusual typing of rock and poison doesn't make it any easier to explain, and its design is weird to begin with, blurring the lines between plants, animals, and inanimate objects. For Mega Glimmora, its petals open up, the conical thing at the front extends into a spear-like shape, and petals start revolving around the body. I don't hate it, but I didn't really get Glimmora's design to begin with, and its Mega is kind of predictable and not all that remarkable. C tier. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't like this one, and I'm still bitter about the Mega Tatsugiri fight in ZA being a royal pain and a you-know-what. The dang thing flying all over the place made it so hard to even hit, and it irritated me more than having a rock in my shoe while the sun's in my eyes while wearing a shirt with an itchy tag while someone's blasting Taylor Swift in the background, all put together. Well, maybe not that bad, but anyway. It was annoying, okay? And while that's unrelated to its design is blah. It's just all three Tatsugiri forms put together as a sushi platter, and each form basically doesn't have a unique Mega, with each of them just swapping the order of the curly, droopy, and stretchy forms. I mean, I get it, and I wouldn't really have expected distinct designs for each, but it's just too predictable. And I hated that boss fight.
D tier.
Alright, our last new Mega from ZA. I really like Baxcalibur and consider it a fine addition to the pseudo-legendary category. As an Ice and Dragon type, it's a really cool one. And of course I think that, as someone loving any kind of monster or dragon or kaiju-like design, and Baxcalibur clearly being based on the granddaddy of them all, Godzilla. It's a great Pokemon and possibly even one of my favorite pseudos, but its Mega is really just about what you would expect. More ice and a bigger blade. Don't get me wrong, I think it's sharp. But once again, just a little predictable and too similar to the original. But not bad by any means. B tier. Alright guys, that's the last of them. Whew. I really hope you enjoyed these rankings, and just as a disclaimer, this is just my personal opinion based on design alone. I totally understand that one of my favorites may be one that you don't like, and vice versa, and that's a-okay. This is all just for fun and hopefully to stimulate some friendly discussion among fellow Pokemaniacs. Oh, and if you haven't checked out part 1, I'm gonna put that right here. So what do you think? Where am I wrong? Where am I right? Seriously, let me know in a comment. I'd love to hear your take. As always, I really appreciate you watching, and if you like what you see, consider hitting the like button and subscribing. If you're a Pokemon fan, I don't think you'll regret it. Plus, it's free, you know. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.